When you have a hole in the ceiling like this, see, we had someone mistakenly drill out the wrong hole here, so I'm fixing this today for you, and I'll show you how to do a perfect ceiling patch and the secret revealed. If you want the easiest drywall patch, you have to use this tape. It's amazing, and it's the only one I will ever use for patching. First thing we want is to square this out, because it is much easier to make a square patch than a circle. We want to make it just a little bit bigger than the actual hole. So 7 by 7 will be sufficient. Just have my 7 by 7 patch and trace it on the ceiling. And then we're going to cut this out. If you have a drywall saw, this is great, and this will do the job well. Put your hand in here. You just want to check that there are no wires. So I need to be very careful when I'm cutting this, because I have a joist here. Once you have your piece cut, you just want to get in there and remove it. There we go. If this is your first time doing a drywall patch and you don't quite get it perfect the first time, just go around again with your knife, and you can make your hole a little bit bigger. The fact that you're doing this yourself is awesome. Now we're gonna put our furring strips in here, and so we're just gonna mark it out where this fits. So I'm just gonna make a mark in pencil here. So that's just where my drywall is going to line up. Anytime you have a hole this size, you have to put wood in behind your drywall to support it. I'm using a 1 by 3 that's cut down, and a hole this size needs 2 pieces of wood or furring strips to secure the drywall. And you want to have a couple inches on this side and a couple inches on this side to screw in. There we go. Just want your screws slightly recessed. And we have one there, and you normally put one here. I have a joist in the way, however, so I'm gonna have to just offset it to the side here. Firm pressure here. You can feel that is so secure for your piece of drywall that's going in. Ceiling drywall is 1/2 inch. We're dealing with 5/8 fire code here. And then this side, I'm actually gonna screw into the joist, which is atypical. Normally you'd be screwing in over here, you'd wanna screw in. So for a small patch in the ceiling, you just need usually 1 furring strip. You do not want these strips to move at all. If they move, your patch is gonna crack. The marks again on our drywall piece. And then we need 4 screws in here minimum to hold a patch this size. As a DIYer, you just want to make sure you're not too close to the edge. You have the patch. So I'm using an all-purpose drywall compound, and I've just thinned that down with a little bit of water. Everything I use, I will link in the description for you guys. What I would suggest is you take your mesh tape. See, this is the weave of the tape. It's incredibly wafer thin, but exceptionally strong, and that's due to the fiber structure of the FibaFuse. This is just the ultimate for patching. So to tear it, you can just take your knife, apply a little pressure, and tear. It's very simple. And I'm just gonna pre-cut these so that it's easier to do than when we get our mud on the ceiling. Just will give you a patch that will sit flatter to your ceiling. Far superior for DIYers. So let's get our mud on the ceiling now. So we're just gonna lay that on there. So we're just filling in the areas of where the seam is, and this is just gonna allow our FibaFuse to stick in bed in. So you're just gonna press it in just to cover our seams. And you can just go over and push it in, back the other way. So the advantage of this is that this is ultra smooth. Now you don't want to overwork this like your fiberglass mesh. This is actually strong as it sets. So we're just going to take our next piece, and I'm just butting up the seams, but I don't want them to overlap. And already this is looking pretty good. So this will set up, and we're just going to go over this now and do our first coat of mud. So I'm going to go one way, clean my knife, go back the other way. And one thing I have to say, if you use the other stuff, you don't have to press in really hard or firmly with your knife like the other old school tape. You just need to apply this in a little lighter fashion. So you just want to go around the entire perimeter of your patch. Gonna hit that up. After one coat, it's looking pretty good. Here was our patch, and take your 12-inch knife and check. You'll be able to see if there's any high spots or low spots. If there's some high spots, we're gonna sand it out. And hit up the edges if there's some little bits of pieces. Just gonna knock those down. Gonna hit that with our 120 grit sandpaper. Nice long strokes. I'm just using a hand sander. You can use a pole sander. This is just the easiest, and these are really inexpensive to replace. Now that your first coat of mud is dry, it is time for our second coat of mud. And you always want to do a second coat of mud, even if it looks really good. You're not going to put much at all on the ceiling. I think sometimes DIYers are a little intimidated to use the bigger knife, but it is really worth it to get a nice smooth finish. You can just add a little bit of water to your drywall compound just to make it a little smoother and easier to manipulate. It's just a great skill to learn, is to know how to patch. It will save you thousands of dollars over the lifetime of your home. So our second coat is dry and it's looking really good. You just want to run your hands over it. And for this sand, you can see I'm focusing most of my attention on the perimeter. Not even where the tape was, which is in here. It's more where I'm blending it and smoothing it into my existing ceiling. If you're new to patching drywall, I would definitely recommend another coat. In fact, drywall contractors will do another coat, especially if you're looking for a super smooth ceiling. So that is exactly what we'll do. Look at the ceiling after the third coat. We have these little spots that we're just going to sand out now. And don't forget, guys, one of the most important parts of any patch job is a drywall primer, because without this primer, your ceiling is just going to be absorbing the paint at a different rate than the surrounding ceiling. So we need to stop that with a good quality primer. And that is a common DIY problem, is flashing, and we want to stop that. So subscribe and smash that like button if you're finding this helpful. Thanks for watching.